Welcome to PNN KEXU, Paul People's Revolutionary Radio on 96.1 FM. On the dial in Oakland and streaming live online at www.poormagazine.org/radio. This is your co-host, formerly houseless, youth poverty scholar Jay, poet, and with formerly houseless poverty scholars Tani and Mute Silencio.
Yeah, this is PNN, not CNN, people. That's Poor People's Revolutionary Radio. Right here, live and direct from this unpimped, unplayed, unbought, unsold Mama Earth that us houseless people are blessed to call homefulness.
From false colonial borders to the healing industrial complex. On today's show, we speak with relatives from so-called LA who were arrested for exercising their constitutional right to report, to journal for reporting on ICE agents' violent harassment of indigenous relatives, and then we move to the fetishizing and theft of the healing industry, or what Tiny calls the healing industrial complex. All that and more in a minute.
Oh.
Oh, you my fucking boy. I thought I was off the lights. That shit is crazy, man. Oh my god. Hey man, free all the families, man.
Yeah.
Man. Oh man. Hey mama, how you doing?
Oh, Mateo. You're just watching the beautiful coming home ceremony of Brother Anthony Orndorff, who is actually a badass community journalist, a poverty scholar, a warrior from Tavangar lands, aka so-called LA, who was and is an amazing journalist, a reporter from the streets, on the streets, exercising his constitutional rights to freedom of speech and protecting the community with his camera and with his voice. And guess what? The occupying forces arrested him, charging him with some fake ass BS. Well, thanks to community and warriors fighting back and not standing for that, Anthony is free as any of us can be on this stolen land. But I just want to lift up that Anthony was on these airwaves less than 3 weeks ago, talking about that badass journalism, reporting on this violent abuse of these agents of the settler state. And so we are blessed to have Anthony's sister, a beautiful warrior, alongside all of us houseless and formerly houseless folks trying to live into land liberation. But in this case, supporting her brother and community as she always does. Carla, welcome back to Poor People's Radio.
Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah.
For my family. Anthony's here with us too. He's been released, and we are so thankful to have him back with us. If you wanted to join the call too.
You're coming in and out, Carla, so I'm worrying that people can't hear you real well. Oh, no, that's fine. But a little bit better. Yes. No, you're fine.
Okay, I was covering up the mic with my hand, according to my brother. My bad.
Okay. I want to make sure we hear you, huh? That's beautiful. Okay. Well, can you just tell us or tell listeners and viewers a little bit about what happened to Anthony and what was going on?
Yeah, so Anthony was arrested while filming an active ICE raid in a parking lot in Pacoima on Thursday, June 19th, on Juneteenth. And it was an incredibly violent raid, as all of these violations of our communities are. A 60-year-old street vendor was actually taken to the hospital and is still in the hospital. She was beaten by ICE. She was dropped, and she's recovering now in the hospital. ICE also pulled someone out of their vehicle and detained them and put them in federal custody. That person was released later that day. And for the very act of filming this violence and being witness to this violence, my brother, who also goes by AO Dream, Anthony, was arrested behind a police line. So he was grabbed by LAPD and beaten, and then taken to 2 different jails and had been held through the weekend for five days, and was released on Monday, where the charges were rejected, and so he was not charged. And it's been an ordeal. It's been really traumatizing for our family. My brother's never been to jail before, and it was an awful situation, but our community really showed up. We had hundreds of people that rallied outside the jail for him. We held a press conference where community really showed up, but also a community of journalists and storytellers who have been brutalized in the streets over the last few weeks, documenting the protests to the ICE raids. And there's been so much that's happened on the ground. My brother, gave an account of that a couple of weeks ago, and the situation has only gotten more dire and more just worse for people on the streets. People are being, many of our street vendors are being targeted and taken in our communities. And so when people found out that they had taken street vendors in the Lowe's parking lot in Pacoima, community stood up and community showed up. And that's when federal ICE agents were backed up by LAPD, and they started brutalizing, both started brutalizing people left and right. And so my brother was held they tried to make a political example of him, but the people really showed up, and the people really, showed up for my brother. And it was what was a horrible and meant to be isolating situation was really beautiful. And we were able to free my brother. We were able to greet him, and he was back in my mother's arms and in our arms, and out of custody. So that's a little bit of what happened. We're still kind of wrapping our heads around this because this was just yesterday, and like what just thinking about the bigger picture. But yeah, that's kind of the timeline and the layout.
Yeah, well, I wanted to back up just a little bit, and I know you're limited for time, but I put it on the document, but I wanted to just, for folks who don't know what's been going on in Tavangar, what's been going on in the just nonstop, and pretty much all of so-called California. They're up here every day. They're in these parking lots of where trabajadores are just trying to get work. They're disappearing people now. I know that sometimes folks are not on the ground like the levels that we're on the ground. So I wondered if you could just tell folks a little bit about the landscape of what's been going on and why, of course, Anthony being a community warrior, why he was out there.
Yeah. So we're born and raised in LA in Tavangar. So we've lived through eras of mass raids, and so we've known ICE to raid our communities and our neighborhoods before, in 2006, in 2010, and 2012. Undocumented people, which also about 1 in 10 people in Los Angeles are undocumented.
Thank you.
And so, when we think of who is LA,
Right.
who actually takes care of the streets, takes care of the people.
Thank you.
who is our city. It's undocumented families. It's migrant immigrant families that make up the life force of Los Angeles. There is no Los Angeles as we know it. This has all been so for us. This history goes much deeper, and so for us, it was the events of the last month have been a reminder and a reawakening, especially for youth who've been having to step in for their parents who otherwise might get snatched on the streets as street vendors. ICE has been particularly targeting street vendors and day laborers and trying to grab anyone that they can. Over the last few weeks, it's been telling people to show up to their immigration appointments and then snatching them and detaining them afterwards. It's been the war zones have been taking place in these parking lots of Home Depots and the Costco's and the Lowe's, where our people try to survive, to make a little bit of money for their families. And so our most vulnerable, but also really the most powerful, like who is LA, has been under attack relentlessly. And we started a street vendor community buyout fund just before my brother was arrested. And we were hearing from dozens of families in our neighborhoods who haven't left their homes since the 6th. We've learned about more of our community members who are unhoused and undocumented, who are also trying to do their best to prepare for ICE raids. And these federal immigration raids have also been knocking on the doors of shelters, have been joining police in enforcement at sweeps. And so Los Angeles claims to be a sanctuary city, where they say that LAPD and the city of LA does not cooperate with ICE. And what happened to my brother is a clear as day case that it requires the city of LA to be cooperating with the feds, to be, ICE is not here just because, the president says so. We've been seeing day in and day out of how LAPD has basically been running security for ICE agents and the National Guard, who's come in last week. And so every day has been an escalation and an attack. And every day we hear more from families who've lost, who can't account for their loved ones. Their loved ones have just disappeared and are in the systems. And so it's been a really horrifying time, but it's a direct confrontation with a system that never ended, which is colonialism. And that's what we're really feeling, that this is the everyday colonialism that our people have been fighting for hundreds of years, and are attacking our most vulnerable now. So that's what brought thousands out into the streets. I mean, every day has been our city. The people have been rejecting this and have said, you know what, we will not tolerate the separation of our families and the brutalization of our communities. And so that's kind of what we've been dealing with for day in, day out, people taking care of each other, learning how to deal with tear gas, how to patch each other's wounds up, even just for documenting. Journalists have to wear gas masks to be able to report on this.
Right.
So I've never seen, one thing I just want to say is I've never seen the city, like all of our neighborhoods, so deeply mobilized in the ways that they have. I think we're seeing from community self-defense patrols to mutual aid, to really thinking about how do we actually create sanctuary in a city that claims to be a sanctuary city but does nothing to actually support the people. It's the people that will save the people. We're seeing like hundreds, if not thousands, of examples of that, like every single day, of people protecting each other, fighting to keep each other safe, and chasing ICE out of their communities, alerting the people that ICE is present, for people to know their rights, to stand together and to support each other. So we've been doing everything we can, but it's been a real these are really rough times for our people.
Yeah, and I wanted to just, I know we have to close out in a minute, but I wanted to just ask you if you could just touch on specifically, because the community did rise up and did demand Anthony be let from this, fake ass charges of whatever. But there's this complicit relationship going on. Can you just clarify that? So it was clear that there was some cover up going on in terms of the so called mayor and the other politics involved. Can you just speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so the city has been, city officials, so politicians, elected officials, including the mayor, Karen Bass, also council members like Monica Rodriguez and Imelda Padilla have gone out in front of cameras to say that we condemn ICE being in our city. We don't support them. We don't work with them. We don't collude with them. Yet, we're seeing today LAPD beating on people who are simply present at these ICE raids in their own neighborhoods. We see in my brother's case, LAPD arrested him for just being a witness to a violent raid. And immediately after that, within minutes of that raid, the councilwoman for that district, Monica Rodriguez, goes on and says, "We don't support ICE, but LAPD is here to protect and support your rights." And so for her to go up and say that right after, ICE was still in this parking lot, kind of tells us exactly what we need to know. That they're covering up the fact that the city works directly hand in hand with the federal. At the federal level, it's all levels of government that are working hand in hand to allow for this to happen. And they're using LAPD specifically to start snatching and beating people just for being even a witness to these federal raids. So if that's not cooperation, I don't know what is. If that isn't working hand in hand, I don't know what is. And so
thank you.
That's
that's where we're at now. And that, again, going back to self-determination and land liberation, and these are the things that when we talk about these colonial state terrorists, we also, again, look at ourselves, our communities, as rising up to standing together against this, because that's what it is. I just want to say, we love you so much. We're so happy that Anthony is out of their clutches right now. We know that no matter what, our bodies are under attack, and we're also never going to stop. I just wanted to ask you if there's any last things you'd like to say and how people can support your family or Anthony or anything else.
Anthony wants to say some words, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, babe. Oh, we love you, Anthony.
We love you. I love you too. Thank you for all that y'all do. I just wanted to. I can't say too much because there's some still ongoing stuff going on. But I'll just say the only reason why I'm out is because the community saved me, saved my life. Without
That's right.
the community, I'm in county, I'm locked up, and my life is significantly changed for the worse. And I'm only out because the community came out and saved me. And this is a lot bigger than me. It's bittersweet to be out because although I am free, I don't fully feel free because I met a lot of people inside that got convicted for 3 years in prison for bogus charges. I met so many people inside that I never would have if I didn't get wrongfully arrested. And so my heart is joyful, but it's also broken because I also was separated from my family. And I also know that people are being separated right now. And so although I am reconnected and reunited with my family, when I say family, I also mean my neighbors, my peoples. So it's blood and not blood. So but I just want to, like, the people that we pay to protect, we're separating me from my family, separating me from my work, separating me from the truth, that to get to the people, to simply say what's going on.
Mhm.
And the only reason why I'm out is because the community organized and they put the pressure on to get me out. Otherwise, you're not hearing me. I'm literally not here. They,
Uh-huh.
they saved my life, and I'm so grateful to have a sister like mine. But I also feel like everything that I got, everyone deserves. Everyone deserves a community to advocate for them, and I think that's the world that we're building. That's the world that we're going to win. And we're doing it piece by piece, case by case, corner by corner. We are winning. We
Oh,
are,
Oh,
and that's the myth that we're not. We are definitely in the struggle. We are definitely being brutalized. We are definitely on the brink of genocide. Already was a genocide, but they still trying to exterminate us. But it is the
uh-huh.
community that pulls up. It couldn't just be me. It couldn't just be you. It's we. So
That
that's
part.
that's that's and that's what I've seen inside these cells that the police will never have. Is actual
Oh,
community and actually people having each other's back. They actually hate that. I was inside these cells having a little community of all the people incarcerated. We were building that, and they hated that.
that part.
So we're gonna build that outside the walls, in the walls,
Okay. Okay.
everywhere.
great.
That part. We love you so much, Anthony. And from a former incarcerated poverty scholar myself, the revolution is behind those razor wire plantation walls. You already know, blood. Love you,
Absolutely.
babe. Love you so
Hey,
much.
hey, I only know now. I knew it. It's one thing you could say, but then once you in it, you're like, oh, this is where it's at
Right?
too. This is where it's everywhere. So
That part.
although nobody deserved to see it inside there. Like once you're in there, you know what's up, and it's what you're doing
Uh-huh.
there. So I'm forever grateful to meet met some people in there and forever
Ashe.
connected. So thank you for always staying connected. It is us that will save us forever.
Oh, love you,
Oh,
Anthony. Love you,
wow.
Carla. We'll talk to you
Love
Love
real
you too.
soon.
you.
Poor People's Radio. We love you, family.
Love you too.
I'll
All
talk.
right. All right, family. Again, you're listening to Poor People's Radio. That's PNN, not CNN. Poor People's Revolutionary Radio, live and direct from the small part of unpimped, unplayed, unsold, unbought Mama Earth, us houseless people call homefulness. We're about to transition. Our beautiful youth poverty scholar, Jay, let's give him some love. This is his first day behind the ones and twos. We're going to be transitioning into the healing industrial complex. What the heck does that even mean? So, to have that conversation, we're going to bring in our beautiful sister Leger, and we're going to say goodbye to Jay for tonight. All right, Jay. We'll
Thank
see
you
you
for
soon.
having me.
All right, all right, all right. So yeah, a lot of people talk about so-called healing, right? And what does that really even look like? I'm blessed to have another poverty scholar healer in the house. Uh, okay, yeah. Um, and it's kind of I want to just say that for us poverty scholars to even be on these airwaves, I want to shout out to my brother Mutiel de Silencio over on the ones and twos. This is really hard. This technology is no joke. But it's really about us poor people trying to get our voices out there, our liberation out there, as far and wide as possible. And we really appreciate you, listeners, viewers, all the warriors who are listening. All the warriors who are always walking the streets, walking the talk, and actually living into liberation. We appreciate you, and we're right there with you. So anyway, down to this healing industrial complex. It's a kind of a name I coined in none other than the Clanmark book. And for those of you who haven't gotten your copy, Run, Don't Walk. They're at City Lights Books on the physical streets in occupied Yalamu, San Francisco. And they're also Banandang books over here in Uchun. But really, the Clanmark monuments and plaques is really about taking back pre-colonial truth and history, taking land back, taking water back, and also taking healing back. So, Sister Leger, the addiction doula, can you tell us about a little event that you went to and what you kind of unearthed there?
Yes, just got back from a week in Denver, Colorado at the National MAPS Psychedelic Science Conference. And why I was there is with the group that I've been working with, um, EFAM and Celestial Church, Earth Amplified. We have been developing a holistic detox and recovery support service that we're calling Headdress. And part of one of the projects of Earth Amplified is that when I first started my journey into recovery, when I told my relatives that I was ready to take that step, So Chill, shout out So Chill, was like, I think your story should be, for the public, for people that also are in a place of fear and alone and just not knowing what's going on. And so when I was in withdrawal process, they started taking videos and snapshots of me, which developed now into a film that we're calling Ancestral Medicine, Healing the Streets, Holistic Detox and Recovery. So what we actually went to Denver, Colorado to do was to actually show the sizzle or the trailer for the documentary. It features me and then another man named Ray, who was also involved with substance use and in the prison system, and how we both have changed our lives to help others.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, one of the reasons that, and I don't want to ever disrespect healing modalities because we know, especially as poverty scholars, I mean, I often say there's some shit I went through that I don't think I'll ever heal from. So, I'm going to be real about that. I also know that there's some powerful caregivers, plant medicine practitioners, and relatives who are really looking at indigenous science and love medicine to heal us. And that's serious because our bodies are destroyed from these multiple violence of homelessness, racism, colonization, PoL-ICE terror, sweeps. We're struggling with forms of ableism and racism and classism every day. And our bodies are being attacked just for being seen. So I want to lift up the badass work of the addiction doula, my beautiful sister here, and who actually now, after being a houseless resident on Wood Street for years, is now homeful and homefulness. But and doing addiction doula, you should listen to her beautiful podcast. But there's also another side, unfortunately, which a reason I called it the healing industrial complex, where there's a lot of fetishizing and occupying. At least that's how I look at it, indigenous medicine without what I would consider necessary reparations and land back work and rematriation work. Shout out to Sigorte Land Trust. In other words, using the medicine of Mama Earth or First Peoples from everywhere, from the destroyed Amazon and on, but not necessarily lifting up the people that created and brought us that medicine, not necessarily taking care of the original practitioners, but rather turning it into a monetary commodity. And I heard that you heard something about that there.
Yeah, that was what really hit home for me. I have, been blessed to be able to be a part of some of the plant medicine ceremonies here. But so I was kind of torn between because, so let me just back up. Yes, I went to some workshops about Iboga, which is specifically carried from the Buitui tribe in Gabon. And there was a video from the man who was there. It was his grandfather. And they were saying, yes, this medicine is to be healing people. This is what the purpose of it. But what we don't want is for these scientists to come in and, extract the medicine, take the ceremonial aspect out of it, take it away, do whatever their scientific stuff and chemistry stuff, and then making all this money. But these communities where these plants are grown are just being destroyed. The communities are suffering. And so just like remembering to go back to the source and also credit these people that have been holding these medicines for thousands of years. And it just shows it's a little bit sick, because we know that things get legalized because whoever has found a way to make money off of it. But it's bigger than the healing part. Also comes with being with the master teacher, with going through the processes that you must go through when you're going to receive these medicines. And so that really hit home for me, because I was like, wow, moving forward, if I experience, more ceremonies of plant medicine, I myself also want to go back to where they came from, and sit with the people who have been working with this medicine, and their grandparents have been working with it, and they've been having it for years. But here's the other part why I said I was torn, is because the special thing about holistic detox and recovery support services is that we also recognize the race and wealth and class privilege of the people who actually get to go to Brazil, who get to go to Africa, who get to go to Mexico, and all these places and access these medicines, where the folks whose lineage that it really belongs to, whose tradition, whose indigenous ancestors can't access it, like me, like my relatives that are on the streets that struggle with addiction. And so what we are trying to do is, with good intentions, the right way, bring those opportunities to folks, because they are healing people in Africa from opiate addiction with Iboga. And so instead of here, they're trying to shove all these like methadones and suboxones down our throat. Because why? Because it's a bigger thing about money and stuff like that.
That part. Well, I'm absolutely with you on the torn aspect of it, and I know that our folks are suffering. That we have, what I often call the HELLTH care system, and medical apartheid, and all the other violent racism, white science. And shout out to our sister Lori Eva Yeye, who should be here today. But we know that capitalism kills, and we know that these substances, these man's poisons, kill us. That they're actually poison, right? And so that you're bringing, in a lot of ways, right, we're bringing indigenismo and the medicine of ancestors into communities who are being dismantled from their culture, So I absolutely am with that. And I also, shout out to Xochitl and Headdress and Ashel and all the warriors and work along with you and others, because that's the work, that they're trying to do. And there are many others like Maya and other warriors who are with us. And I want to say that it's $1 million industry, or perhaps $1 billion industry, that is becoming almost, almost to the point of violent. When I hear things like Whole Paycheck, aka a Monsters On, now has gotten into, sourcing, as they like to call it, of the Amazon, right, for these plant medicines, and are so that they can sell them in their stores to rich, mostly white or just period wealth hoarders all across Mama Earth. So I think we have to lift both of these up at the same time. Let's be real. Those wealth hoarders are the same ones that are trying to sweep us like we're trash.
Mhm.
They're not our friends. They don't give an F if we have healing. They just want to incarcerate every poor person they get. So I think that piece about this is important is to lift up, that as we collectively heal from capitalism, we have to recognize the roots, air quotes, of all of these medicines as we bring the indigeneity into our colonized lives, lifting up the ancestors of that medicine. I think that's the piece. And for any of you who have resources and are part of what you might consider the healing industrial complex, of which there are a lot of folks in the Bay Area, no disrespect, but there are, I would encourage you to go back to supporting that sourcing, to supporting those relatives from those lands that maybe those medicines came from. And like I say in the story, Healing Industrial Complex, in the Clanmark book, all proceeds go to support hopefulness and we're broke. No, but for real, we talk about practicing reparations. Talk about reparations to the relatives, the forest dwellers of Kashmir, who are being moved out of their indigenous lands so that the Indian government can source lumber and plant medicine from their ancestral land, right? So we have to think about where these things and these beautiful pieces of Mama Earth come from and how they are all connected, right? Which leads us to the Healing Hub. Hey, so maybe Leger, you could talk a little bit about what we're
I
doing.
just wanted to say one
So
last
go a
thing
little bit
about the
more.
psychedelic
Sorry.
science conference is that I was very grateful that there was a space between all the scientists and all the rich people and all the hustle and bustle of 12,000 people
Wow.
in this convention center, that they did have space, a BIPOC space. And, so my first day I was able to go and get Olympia. And when I was way too overwhelmed with all the people, I could go into that space and they had little stations set up and, oils and infrared tints and things like that. And so they tried to make space for us, and that was nice, because also going into these spaces too, where that these are medicines again of Black and Brown indigenous communities, but you are like the outcast there. So I was just grateful that like all of the this side, this colored people were stopped at the door, like, this is our space, and so that was nice. But I am grateful, and really it was really a nice experience to go there. And after sharing my story, I had a lot of people come up to me crying, saying, they had 100 days clean, and that I really inspired them. So, I mean, that's really why I go into spaces like this also, because you never know when something you say might really stick and resonate with people. And that's also my own story. Somebody said something that resonated with me. So yeah, you can check out the film on ancestral medicine at Instagram, the sizzle, if you'd like to see it. But the Healing Hub.
Yes. So we have this beautiful example. I do want to say it's a project of the Poor People's Clinic. Shout out Eva Yeye to Mama D. Vision of poor and houseless women of color who are mistreated, maltreated, or never treated in the Western medical industrial complex. And that was absolutely my mama's story. Just on so many levels, a survivor of what I called HELLTH care. It was always our vision, as far as part of homefulness, to have the Poor People's Clinic. And so this is a manifestation of that vision. And it's been happening. We've been doing it in-house small. And I want to lift up to the beautiful warriors of headdress, and to Sister Leger and Sister Xochitl and Ashel, Maya and Gerard, and so many other warriors who've made it possible to bring their work into our work. And then now we have this vision, and it's the first time that we're feeling comfortable enough to offer it to the community. It goes down this coming Friday, the 27th. starting at 10 a.m. with the talk circle and registration. And then we have beautiful warriors like Dr. Weston Navarez, who's a chiropractic medical doctor. I mean, a doctor of chiropractic medicine, as well as Dr. Rupa Maria, who's, practices white science, but as a woman of color, wielding her fierce redistributive ways, and many other warriors. Tell us what else is going to happen there, huh?
Yeah, so we're going to just start off with a check-in, going around, seeing where folks are at, because it has been a while since we've had our regular weekly session together. And then after we do that and welcome folks, then we will be offering a sound bath and acupuncture, the 5-point acupuncture nada, which was developed from when the Black Panthers were trying to combat against, all the Vietnam vets coming home that were addicted to opiates. And then, so they used this to actually get people off of heroin and things like that. And so we'll be offering those two things. And also like what Tiny was saying, the offering of the chiropractor and Dr. Rupa. But also it just gives us a space to be heard, a space to get more tools that we can use when challenges come up. And also just wanted to say that I think people often look at addiction as being only drugs. There's many forms of trauma that we go through, and there's many ways that we cope from that trauma. And so not to like close it off saying only folks that use illegal substances or alcohol can come, but this is for anybody who just wants to work on themselves, who wants to pour back into themselves, love on themselves, and feel better, release, and talk with folks that really genuinely care about what's going on, not just somebody who's doing it for money. We're doing it for love.
That's right. That's right. Because it is completely free. I do want to say that part of the issue is that in these capitalized realities, health care or so-called healing care, which is the root of that word, of course, is really all based in bloodstained dollars. So to actually offer that for free, and one of the reasons of the Poor People's Clinic is really to recognize that caring for each other, that taking care of, and that healing each other should not be a commodity. That should not be something that's bought and sold on the commodities market. And the reality is that's what it is in the Western capitalist reality. And most of us poor folks, we get HELLTH care. And depending on your so-called papers in this stolen land, you don't even get to see so-called healthcare professionals. So there's many ways that we are shut out, left out, kept out intentionally from these systems of so-called care. So I just want to lift up that reality. And this is for poor and houseless people, for low and no income folks, working class folks. Please come. Please check it out. And if you can't make it this month, we'll be back next month, the last Friday of every month, at Homefulness, a homeless people's solution to homelessness, 8032 Black Arthur, that's Mac Arthur, in Deep East Uchun, a.k.a. Oakland, right here at 82nd and Black Arthur, on Friday, June 27th at 10 o'clock.
And I just wanted to add, too, real quick that, for me in my recovery, a lot of programs are 12-step based, which is fine. There's different strokes for different folks, but what has been really, really like the pivotal thing, or the thing that really strengthened my recovery, is having connections to a higher power of my own, African spirituality. And so what we really try to do is connect all different types and ways of healings from all different cultures, with practicing in a good way, and honoring where these places come from, and not
Ashe.
not doing, what without permission and things like that. But just wanting to say, like, thinking outside the box too, maybe going to 12-step meetings is something that you can't really vibe with, but maybe getting a sound bath, or receiving Sukyo Marikari, which is light healing, or the acupuncture, or just being able to talk and give less power to the cravings and the feelings that you have. So it's not like this one linear way of looking at addiction and using substances, but it's let's find what works for us. And so just again, opening up for anybody to come that is in search of new ways of healing, and stronger ways to be grounded in just living a healthier and better way of life.
In this moment with this colonial state terror, I think we need all the healing that we can get. And that's so real too.
We need to build a homefulness in Africa. Just
okay,
saying.
Well, there we go. Okay, there you go, family. There you go. We got a plan. I just want to say that also, the brother Gerard is also going to be offering talk therapy. Believe that, okay? And that's such an amazing thing for any of y'all who've tried to find talk therapy and you can't afford it. So I just want to put that out too. It's a growing, humble offering, relatives,
And we're bilingual. So
That
it's
part.
not, just
That part.
English speaking people. We have lots of people who.
Coming through.
Yes.
Come through. Thank you so much, Leger. We love you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to be closing out with this poem cast that I did, inspired by the fact that I recently got to visit the Crazy Horse Memorial and talk about healing in this moment of colonized land and stolen land. Our healing is our land back. Our healing from Anthony to the healing industrial complex. And I would encourage folks, if you can't get there physically, to learn about the Crazy Horse Memorial in so-called South Dakota or Dakota lands. Shout out to the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and the Dakota and Lakota people and Cheyenne and Arapaho and all the erased relatives that we don't necessarily know. Go ahead. Oh, you didn't get it in? Oh, I was with you. That was we're trying to play it, fam. Hold up. There we go. It's that one. All the genocidal settler attacks. Settler jaws covered in our baby's blood, from Palestine to Tehran to the Amazon. Desecration is an opiate. Recreation is the rope we get. Mama Earth is the product, sold and told, so we keep buying it. Crushing wheelchairs, killing us if we don't pay rent anywhere. Constructing false border walls, so we can't see the true violence of the settler laws. But medicine lurks around us as the resistance of land back surrounds us. Dream big. Let the ancestors live. Deconstruct, dismantle. Take up the crushed ice mantle. Recognize the land theft from the perpetrating fathers, now long dead. Press. Don't pray to the lies. Wide open your eyes. Rematriate. Take back and see Mama Earth for who she actually be. The resistance medicine lives among us. Land back, water back, dreams back. From Turtle Island to the Mauna, to Hassa, to Uchun, to houseless me. and landless you. Oh, again, that's dedicated
Landmarks.
to Crazy
Monuments.
Horse Memorial. The fact that we even had the blessing of having that happen. It's not a little thing. Learn more about that story because it's an example of indigenous resistance on settler colonial land. And all we ever hear about is the so-called Mount Rushmore, the dead Prez memorial of the old white men, land stealers, which is just so much violence perpetrated. But this is a powerful movement and it's growing. And I want to shout out to Segorte Land Trust and getting back their stolen land at West Berkeley Shell Mound. A shout out to the Yurok relatives who got back several thousand acres of their land. Shout out to Clayton Duncan in the fight to name properly the beautiful land that was stolen and desecrated by one of the many colonizers, so-called named Kelsey, and then named after Kelsey. These are some of the stories of the Untour book. Check it out. If you can't afford to buy it, we send it for free. It's just really trying to lift up truth on stolen land, especially in this time of so much settler violence against all of us. Thank you so much, relatives. Words. So that's all for this day's broadcast for People's Radio. Again, blessed to be here with everybody. So honored to be sitting here with the medicine bringer, the Jay, and our new warrior Jay. If folks want to get more of our work, you can find these podcasts on Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts. As well, you can follow us on Instascam or Facecrack at Poor Magazine, at Poverty Scholar, or Poor News Network on YouTube. And we'll see you soon. So much love. Change won't come from a savior, pimp, or an institution. Change will only come from a poor people-led revolution. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Oh.